So Shovel Knight has been out for well over a year now. This was such a heavily funded indie title, the demo alone got players extremely excited for this title to come for PC, the Wii U, and the 3DS. It was developed by Yacht Club Games, an indie studio also founded by a former WayForward director. WayForward, a company most notable for the Shantae series. Shovel Knight is a platformer and inspired by so many retro games people would know and love, have some sort of detail in the gameplay. The map was inspired by Super Mario Bros. 3, the towns were as lively as from Zelda 2, weapons were utilized similarly to Castlevania, and the level design was brimming with content and creativity more than any classic Mega Man game. That might put some people down for thinking Shovel Knight is not original, but what matters most is how it handles with its gameplay. A simple swipe from his trusty shovel is enough to take down even the heavier foes. Yes, you heard that right, a shovel. There have been guns, whips, fire flowers, swords. This hero is rocking a shovel, and sometimes the game even jokes about it. The adventurers Shovel Knight and Shield Knight are both to always journey together. However, one day Shield Knight gets taken over by a cursed amulet at the Tower of Fate, leaving Shovel Knight locked outside, grieving over his loss. Shovel Knight would soon retire his duties as an adventurer, but later the world will be overrun by the New Order of No Quarter. Sounds like a WWE stable. So Shovel Knight must save the world from these members while occasionally meeting up with an old friend, Black Knight, a warrior who had romantic feelings with Shield Knight and blamed Shovel Knight for her capture. In some sense, the story may not seem any more different from a Mega Man game. It's not the only comparison I'll mention between the two games. Black Knight is your rival like Proto Man or Base, the villain the Enchantress is your Dr. Wily, and the 8 members of the Order are basically your Robot Masters. However, the real uniqueness to Shovel Knight's story is the world that takes place, because a lot of these citizens, albeit eccentric, are also full of personality and charm even with the other warriors you come across. Within the world map of Shovel Knight, you really only have 9 levels to tackle through until the final area. There are some extra challenge stages putting your new weapons to the test and marketplaces selling new upgrades. The way the levels are structured are simple point A to point B scenarios. You plow through the stages and face off against the knight at the end of the stage. These levels are long, about 10 minutes for each one, but there is a lot more mechanics introduced for each of them to make them feel fresh again, not dragging the level with boredom. The interesting thing is how levels are progressed in the game. Every 3 levels you unlock the next portion of the world map to start 3 more levels. It increases the difficulty based on each portion of the map until you have reached the Tower of Fate, where all of those challenges are being utilized once more. However, with each new portion of the map, you can complete any of those 3 levels, not counting the first level, in any order you wish. And because every level has a hidden weapon you unlock, you can use that said weapon on the next level. So, would you want to start on the Iron Whale to get the axe, which has good air coverage, or would you perhaps start the Clockwork Tower to get the mobile gear, making the stranded ship a piece of cake? Shovel Knight is very mobile on his own. The controls and difficulty are what I conceive as outstanding. Firstly, this game controls like a dream. No stiff momentum, great precision for platforming, and consistent frame rate which prevents sluggish movement. Again, the game gets harder, not cheap though. This is one of those games where if I die, it is really because of something that I did wrong. On top of that, infinite lives. The only punishment you get if you die is losing the loots of money. You can grab it back though, as long as you don't screw up again. The graphics and sound have taken the 8-bit look from the NES days and recreated with more sprite work and art. Everything looks so beautiful and detailed for a game like this, and the soundtrack is hard rock Mega Man music. It does sound more similar to Mega Man 9 and 10's soundtrack in where the 8-bit themes are more heavy-handed with the chiptunes, but a lot of these are intensive and catchy. I am looking straight at the Lost City and Clockwork Tower. Thank you, Jake Kaufman. I should be clear that despite how long the levels are, I still found Shovel Knight as a pretty short game. With that in mind, I did not have any issues involving game design or level design put into consideration. There is no perfect game, I understand that, but what we have here ended up as one of the best platformers and indie games in a long time. It's on Steam, I know everyone has their hands on that version. The PS3, PS4, and PS Vita version have an exclusive boss fight and weapons from God of War, while the Xbox One version comes with the boss fight and weapons from Battletoads. The Nintendo Wii U and 3DS version will soon be compatible with a Shovel Knight amiibo equipped with a co-op mode and new levels. Now then, onwards to the recently added Plague of Shadows. This is one of the new DLC campaigns given to all versions of Shovel Knight. It stars the player with one of the bosses, Plague Knight. Even though he was loyal to the Enchantress, that was never his primary motive. Plague Knight seeks the world to locate essence that creates an ultimate potion, and his world he is aided with some folks from Shovel Knight's story like Mona the Witch, you know, the girl who hosted the Target game. Now why Plague Knight of all people? If I were more curious of the other knights' motives, it'd probably be more towards Black Knight. Although after watching that trailer, I understand now. Firstly, Plague Knight was such an unusual knight to face off. His stage, his design, his battle alone was intriguing. His moves also have a different style to behold. His ability is to throw unique chemicals at enemies which has a different variety of effects. You can upgrade the way they are being thrown, what explosions it creates, and how long it will explode. He is also fast too. With his new mobility, he might be a little more enjoyable to speedrun through. I will say that I died in the first level of the game more than I normally would in Shovel Knight's campaign. He is strange to get accustomed to, but I managed it. Regardless of the fact, this is free, so it's not going to harm anyone. It's unlocked once you have completed the main story. I would definitely at least check it out if you wanted some extra challenge. And that wraps up Shovel Knight and Plague of Shadows. I absolutely love these games for what reminded modern fans how retro games are still made better today. $15 is such a steal of the game with this much effort put into both the campaign and the exclusive content that comes with it. If you are a fan of the platforming genre or like to start back at it, play this game and enjoy continuing your gaming experience. Thank you all for watching, leave yourself a like or a comment, and I will see you all whenever. Take care.